It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is January 22nd. It's a Wednesday, and this is C Block, which means it's CWS block. Is that what you're saying, John?
Yeah. Hey, did you see this crazy weird story about Elon Musk and his rocket? He's landed at the new Lambert Airport thing. Hey, you think we could get Shelly on the phone and Shelly could talk about the naming convention at Lambert Airport?
John's making fun of me. You know what I am going to do? See, I've already got it plugged in. I got my phone plugged in.
You're going to call Elon Musk and say, where did Bezos' girlfriends get her floaters?
No, I'm going to.
Did she go to Tijuana for those things or what?
No, I'm going to call my son. Okay, this is my oldest son. Let's see if I answer the phone. Hold on a minute. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Hey, you're on the air, so no potty mouth, okay?
All right.
This is my son, Brett, who lives in Milton, Florida, okay, which is just outside of Pensacola, right? That is correct. How much snow do you have?
We measured it about 5 o'clock this morning. It was about right at 8 inches on a yardstick.
8 inches of snow. Now, you sent me this yesterday. The record for the largest, the deepest snowfall was in your hometown of Milton, which is just outside of Pensacola. Was that 1954? And that was 4 inches of snow?
Yeah. Yep. That was the state record for Florida snowfall.
So you have 8. Is that officially? I mean, is there an official weather station in Milton that would be able to tell you that? Or where's the official weather station there? Is it Pensacola?
The NOAA weather station's in Mobile. I'm not sure where the exact number is, but some of the local news sites were reporting that, I guess, official, unofficial number in Milton was 8.8 inches.
8.8 inches. Okay. So there's no snow plows in Milton or in the whole area. And you texted me this last night. They closed down I-10 between the Alabama border all the way through Florida, all the way to Tallahassee. Was that what you said?
No, just past our exit, but as of this morning, it's closed at Crestview, so that's 60 or 58 miles of interstate that's closed.
And it's totally shut down. You can't even get on or off the interstate.
As far as I'm aware, yeah, there's FHP issued that they have shut down. I'm guessing when you come in from Alabama, they make you get off at the first exit there, which is mile marker 5. And, yeah, they're making everybody take surface streets if you have to travel.
So you could hang out at Buc-ee's in Alabama, but you can't come into Florida, right?
That's it.
Okay. Is this completely shut the city down? Is this to the point where, like, you're obviously your business is closed today, right?
Excuse me. We're closed down. Excuse me.
I have this effect
closed
on my
down.
kids.
Jamie, I think she's on vacation, but I think they're closed down as well. So everything, I mean, as far as everything I know in this town is shut down right now. Most of the Santa Rosa County has said that all streets in Santa Rosa County are closed aside for community use or emergency travel.
So in other words, everyone's supposed to just stay at home in what county? You're not in, what's the Escambia County? That's not the county you're in, is it?
That's the county that Pensacola's in. I'm in Santa Rosa County.
But that's just the next county over then, right?
Yeah, basically part of the Pensacola metro area.
So what are you going to do? Just hang out and do nothing? You got 4-wheel drive. You could drive around, but you can't. Do you get a ticket if you drive around? They're going to pull you over?
I don't. Well, from what I saw yesterday, the cops can't drive it anyway, so I don't think they could catch me. But
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get the report on this because you know what, Brett? It's all because of global warming. It's all global warming. That's global warming fault. And it's your fault because you drive a diesel truck. It's your fault, Brett. You caused this problem.
I drive a diesel truck and I eat beef, so all those cow farts that just ruin the environment. And
okay. Have a good day. Say hi to Jamie for me, okay?
I will. I'll see you.
Okay, I love you. Bye. That is my son, Brett, in Pensacola. Can you believe that? 8.5 inches of snow? I mean, is that...
I wonder what... Yeah, I wonder what, the folks that really are into global warming, I think their line is that the Earth just doesn't warm up, but you have colder weather in the winter. Isn't that their line on this?
John, what? Remember, if you go back, I'm old enough to remember, and I've seen this on Facebook. I've seen people screenshot these Time magazine. I believe there was an article in Time magazine, a cover article somewhere in the 70s that talked about the coming ice age, okay? And then we went from the coming ice age to global warming, and then it went to global climate change. That's like saying, it's almost like it's a comms guy's best thing, because you can say something that no matter what you say, it's going to come true. That would be like, I think the traffic this morning on Interstate 40 or Interstate 64 was light at 4 o'clock this morning, and I think by 8 it's going to be much heavier. People are going to go, yeah, that happens every day. Well, I never knew that. You know what I mean? It's just you're stating the obvious, but yet you're not stating the obvious. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're putting yourself in a position where you can't be held accountable later, or nobody can say that you're wrong later. Sure.
And the crazy thing about this is, crazy weird story, I've done this before. If you go the 10 hottest days in St. Louis, the 10 hottest days of the top 10, I believe 4 of them are in the 50s and 3 of them are in the 30s. So once again, almost 100 years ago in the 30s, and back in the 50s, what is that, like 70, 80 years ago? Something like that? I mean,
Yeah.
how is it that if it's getting so hot all the time, why is it that we don't have like 110 degrees every summer? What was the last?
Well, here's why, Brad. Because I think if you had actually dedicated a little bit more time at Mississippi State, you'd know the answer to that. I think somewhere there's a Mississippi State bulldog turning over in his grave and being like, I told that Bradley he should have followed me to Clarksville. We'd put up a couple weather balloons and he'd know everything that I know. But he decided to go back to St. Louis.
John makes fun of me because of the fact that at one point in time I went back for my 3rd degree, which would have been a Bachelor of Science degree in meteorology at Mississippi State, but I never finished. Okay, this is on the other side of the road, on the other side of the river, and I want your opinion on this. Interstate 255 will be closed for 6 months in St. Clair County. They're going to shut down like 4 miles of Interstate 255. How do you feel about that?
I saw that headline and I laughed this morning, Brad, like not even knowing that we were going to talk about it, because I thought, how do you close down a major highway for 4 months?
Well,
I mean, for 6 months, like a 4-mile stretch for that long.
starting.
And now, is it up around North County where 255? I mean, if you would take 270 east, it runs into 255 over there, right?
No, this is sort of in the central part of Madison County. It's going to be 3.5 miles from Illinois 157 to Illinois 15 in St. Clair County. So it's going to go from Madison County 157, and it's going to go all the way down to 15 in St. Clair County. Now, this is not, and it's 3.5 miles. This is not the first time they've done this. They did this one time before, and here's what they're saying. By closing I-255, the project will be completed in 6 months instead of the 2 years that would necessary if construction were staged, according to the department's news release. Additionally, the project will cost $65.4 million, or about $10 million less in taxpayer dollars than completing the work in multiple phases. IDOT suggests motorists use Interstate 55 as a detour. And there's a quote in there from my old employee who used to work for me, Mark Kern, who is now the St. Clair County county executive. Okay, he says 255, that stretch of 255, and he's the St. Clair County guy, was like driving on the moon. I was on that stretch just, 2 weeks ago, I believe. And when I read this, I thought to myself, where's he driving? What does he drive, like a Volkswagen with no shock absorbers or something like that? I mean,
Yeah. So in other words, you were saying it seemed fine to you.
I didn't see any problem with it. Once again, I'm driving along doing the speed limit, or as Shelley would say, I'm doing 40 miles an hour, which is not true. But I don't know. I mean, how in the world do you just do that? I mean, to me, and they're saying it's saving money. Okay, here's what I say. Do it 24/7. I mean, remember when we had the earthquake, what they call it, the Northridge earthquake in California, and it knocked out all these interstates, overpasses, and things like that. Okay. Normally, that would have taken like 2 years to do that. Okay, they finished it like in 4 months. Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, can't you essentially say, okay, we're going to run this project 24/7. We're not going to, no weekends off, no holidays, and to the point where they're, whoa, the construction workers triple shift the thing. Find enough people.
but I get your point, Brad. But last time I checked, Illinois' credit card was probably going to get declined. I mean, can they pay for the workers, Brad? Like, can they pay for the helmets that would go on the workers?
And the interesting thing is, where does this story come from? St. Louis Public
St.
Radio.
Louis Public Radio. Is it Will Bauer?
No, it's from the Belleville News Democrat. It's like,
That's terrific.
once again, 34 people on the staff at St. Louis Public Radio, and almost, I would say a good third to a half of the news on the website is not generated by their news department. Would I be accurate in saying that? You watch it all the time. Would you say it's about a third?
I would say most of it's syndicated. Now, Brad, are you willing to make a commitment here on January 22nd that when you get hired at St. Louis Public Radio, somewhere inconspicuously on your body, you'll get a tattoo that reads 35?
35? What would 35 be?
Because you'll be the 35th employee.
I'll be the 35th employee.
In the news department. Yeah.
See, every time I listen to St. Louis Public Radio, and I listen, there's this lady on, and she comes on with this very sincere NPR voice. I'm so-and-so, news person here at NPR. Every month, 2 local newspapers go out of business. That creates a news desert in our country. And that's why you are blessed by, she doesn't say blessed, but that's why she started saying, you're blessed by the fact that you have us, NPR. Okay, let's say that newspaper went out of business in Washington County, Missouri. Okay, how is NPR going to help those people out in Washington County, Missouri, down in Potosi? Let's say it happened in St. Genevieve. Let's say it happened in Moberly. What county is Moberly in? Do you know what county Moberly is in?
Let's see. That's up around Macon County. I'm not sure exactly. I should know that off the top of my head.
Okay, so do you think KBIA is going to? Matter of fact, this is a true story. The local radio stations there, everybody got fired. They had a really good news department.
It was KRES and KWIX. Randolph County is the answer.
Right.
I had to Google that. Well, what they can do, Brad, to answer your question logically, is they could syndicate content from, say, Kansas City, who I linked to a piece they had up yesterday. A big crisis in Kansas City, Brad, is that a lot of queer people, are self-described queer people, are finding dating apps to be really unwieldy. Because a lot of dating apps require you to say, hey, I'm looking for a man, or hey, I'm looking for a woman. What if you're just looking for a non-binary? Or what if you're looking for someone who's asexual? So KCUR highlighted there's an event that once a month, I believe, folks get together, and they do what they describe as a Shark Tank session, Brad. And then you can get up there and you can talk about like what flavor of queer you are. And that way you're not forced to go on a heteronormative dating app, or excuse me, a binary normative dating app where you're supposed to say, hey, I want a woman, or hey, I want a man. You know, you could just go to an in-person Shark Tank thing and you could be like, hey, I want a non-binary.
John,
see, that's the kind of content that you can't get from in Moberly today.
Are you making this up, or is that a real KCUR
story?
No,
it's a real thing. It was on KCUR Up to Date. Steve Kraske was out. I'm guessing he was on vacation or doing anything more important. And another gentleman stepped in and had the queer Shark Tank story. And I told you, Brad, remember, I hate to toot my own horn here, but I told you that the KCUR stories would make St. Louis Public Radio seem like the Wall Street Journal.
Man, I'll tell you what. See, your tax dollar's not at work. They can say all they want about the fact we're listener supported. Baloney sandwich. All the people at the St. Louis Public Radio station at KWMU and KCUR and KBIA, they get a state of Missouri paycheck. Right, John?
I think so. They're employees of UMSL. And do you think, Brad, one of the executive orders that Donald Trump could have would be actually, you know how he changed Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America? Maybe he could declare St. Louis Public Radio a news desert itself, and he could get a bunch of sand from the Gulf of America and pour it down at wherever their studios are, just to highlight the fact that they're an actual news desert, right?
I forgot to ask my son about that because of the fact that his house, he lives on this little channel, and he has literally a dock in his backyard, and he's got his boat back there. And you can get in on his boat and go through the little channel which goes into this bay, and if you go far enough, you go into the Gulf. I was going to ask him, how's that Gulf of America doing, Brett? Have you been to the Gulf of America yet? Is it any different? Is the water better? Is it cleaner because it's now Gulf of America? Now, we're almost out of time here, but is that official? That was one of the executive things he did, wasn't it? One of the executive orders?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you the same question, Brad, because I don't know when that takes effect. But from what I understand, that was one of the executive orders, right?
Yeah, because he changed, if you know this crazy thing, Mount McKinley in Alaska, Obama changed it to Denali, and he's changing it back to Mount McKinley, which was named after one of our presidents. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Obama can rename a mountain, why can't Trump rename the Gulf? And I looked at it the other day, and I don't know, it's maybe a toss-up. I made the mistake of saying, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that there's more coastline of America than there is of Mexico. And when I looked at that again, I thought to myself, maybe it might be a toss-up. But to me, if you visually look at it, it does look like there's more coastline on the Gulf that's American territory as opposed to Mexican territory. But once again, we could call it the Amex. Oh, the Amex, the Gulf of Amex, right? How's that?
Yeah. And now by that you mean get a corporate sponsorship, right?
Right.
American Express could get it. I'm just waiting for. I know John Lamping's working on this to make Klondike Park be renamed, go back to its original name, which is Dark Sinkhole. It's an LGBTQIA thing, Brad.
Which the original name is the Old Quarry. That's what the original name was.
The Old Quarry. I'll meet you down at the Old Quarry.
That's what it was.
Brad, I'd love to stay and chat, but I got to go find a news desert to cry into.
Don, it's so tough. Okay, and maybe you can get some of that Rams money and, oh no, hold it. It's all going to police department, right?
We got to talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.